What's going on, everybody? My name is Derek. Today is February 14th, 2019, and the news story I want to focus on today is the story that started last night, something that's been in the headlines today, regarding the Mars Opportunity Rover, a mission which began in 2004, actually launched in 2003, landed in 2004, has now ended. Now, there's a lot of talk on the internet about NASA and what of what they do is real, what of what they do is fake. There's certainly a mixture of the two. In this video, I'm going to discuss the Mars Opportunity Rover and the numerology associated with it. And we're going to discuss whether or not the Mars Opportunity Rover really ever got to Mars, or if this is just another numeric ritual, which NASA is completely based on. So in this video, what you need to understand is the language of Gematria, also called Gematria or Gematria, and it's a very simple practice of coding numbers into words. We start with the alphabetic order on the top left. We call this English ordinal. Each letter numbered 1 through 26 relative to its position in the alphabet. The full reduction method, also known as Pythagorean Gematria, uses the rules of numerology to reduce every double-digit number to a single digit. Both methods can then be reversed to give us complementary ciphers called reverse ordinal and reverse full reduction. And when you pay attention to this language and compare it with dates on the calendar and date numerologies, you find out that something very strange is going on in this world and that numeric rituals are being played out through the media. So I'm going to discuss this one about the Mars Opportunity Rover. To begin with, let's look up Mars Opportunity on Wikipedia. And the main thing we're going to be looking at here is the dates on which it launched and the date on which the mission ended. The rover was launched on July 7th of 2003, marking the start of the mission. Yesterday, February 13th, 2019, the mission was declared over as contact has not been made in over 8 months. Measuring from July 7th, 2003 to February 13th of 2019 is exactly 5,700 days. Well, why does this number stick out? In the reverse alphabetic order, Mars has a numeric value of 57. In this cipher, where Z equals 1 and A equals 26, M gets the value of 14, A 26, and so on, you get 57. In this same Gematria method, the word rover sums to 57. So how strange is it that a Mars rover is on the surface, or the mission lasted anyway, 5,700 days exactly? With the S exception, this is where the letter S reduced once, 1 plus 9 is 10. Mars rover also has a value of 57. And in something called Jewish Gematria, the other major cipher I teach on this channel, this is a cipher based on the original Latin alphabetic order, and the cipher is structured closely to Hebrew Gematria and Greek isopsephy charts, providing much, much larger numbers. Well, in Jewish Gematria, the nickname of the rover, Api, even sums to 570. And this is all on top of the fact that we know 57 is a very significant number. It's the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry that runs NASA. Scottish Rite equals 57. And in the reverse method, outer space equals 57, as does the word conspiracy, 57. The Mars Opportunity Rover was launched less than a month after the Spirit rover, which went up on the date June 10th, 2003. This date of June 10th stands out because June 10th of last year was also the date that last contact was made with the Opportunity rover. Measuring from June 10th of 03 to June 10th of 2018 gives us exactly 15 years. In the reduction method, Mars has a numeric value of 15. The end of the mission, by the way, falling on a date with full numerology of 54, This is 2 plus 13 plus 20 plus 19, 54. The name of the rover is Opportunity, which sums to 54 in the reverse reduction method. In that same method, Mars Opportunity equals 84, which happens to be the same gematria as Opportunity Rover 84. And when we measure from the date that last contact was made to the date that the mission was declared dead, it was a span of 8 months and 4 days. 84, a significant number to Masonry, which NASA is synonymous with, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. But let's talk a little bit more about the numerology of this mission ending. What I also want you to notice is how Mars, which sums to 51 and 57, also 15, has the same gematria as Moon, 51, 57, and 15, all in the same base methods. The date of the first rover launch back in 2003 fell 325 days after the anniversary of the first moon landing. In the alphabetic order, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, again, which runs NASA, sums to 325. They gave us a clue yesterday, too. After the mission was declared dead, NASA tweeted out from the Curiosity rover profile, they changed the lyrics to a song called Candle in the Wind by Elton John. And what's interesting about this is that Elton John has a birthday of March 25th, which is like 325. And if you measure from his 325 birthday to the date of the end of the mission when this tweet was made, it was exactly 325 days later. Next, I want to look at the reverse reduction gematria of Mars. Over here, we have the number 30. The Opportunity rover landed on a date with standard numerology of 30, 1 plus 25 plus 04. The 30th prime number is 113. And 113 is a very significant number to NASA. First of all, it's the number of deception in gematria. Take a second to look at all of these words and phrases that sum to 113 in both the English and reverse ordinal ciphers. I challenge anyone to find a number that reflects as many dishonest words as this. You're not going to be able to do it. When NASA was established on July 29th, 1958, this was a date with 113 numerology, 7 plus 29 plus 19 plus 58. And NASA has been using this number to deceive us ever since. Think about the Challenger disaster. The Challenger broke apart 73 seconds into flight. Well, 73 seconds is 1 minute and 13 seconds. NASA, in the reverse alphabetic order, equals 73. And then what about the Columbia disaster? The Columbia disaster was the 113th space shuttle launch. Again, not a coincidence. This is the number of deception they've been using this whole time. Even check out NASA's current administrator, Jim Bridenstine. He assumed office on April 23rd. April 23rd is the 113th day of the year. And as far as why Elton John, why his song was used for this ritual, Elton John in the alphabetic order equals 113. Remember, 1 minute 13 seconds is 73 seconds. The name of this song is Candle in the Wind, which equals 73. Just like NASA, 73. And when Candle in the Wind was released, which was February 4th of 1974, that was the 35th day of the year. And NASA equals 35 in ordinal. Notice how the word Mason also has this gematria of 73. NASA a Masonic institution. Mason also sums to 62 and 26 with the S exception. And why does this stand out? Well, if you measure from the date NASA was originally established in 1958 to the date that we got this news story, it was a span of exactly 60 years and 200 days, like the number 62, like Mason. This tweet with the made-up lyrics to Candle in the Wind, if you take the alphabetic ordinal gematria of this tweet, you get 2626. Yesterday's date, Numerology also had alignments with the rover's title and NASA. I'll let you guys check out the post. But I find this part more interesting. So this news is falling primarily on the 14th of the month. When Mars Opportunity landed, the date numerology was 14 if you add all the digits together. The number 14 has a prime chain connection to Mars. And let's talk about how this works. Looking at the properties of the number 14, we find that the 14th prime number is 43. The Opportunity rover was declared dead exactly 403 weeks after its sister rover, Spirit. There were 40 months and 3 weeks between the moon missions, the dates on which they launched. But anyway, the 43rd prime is 191. And 191 is the gematria of Mars in the Satanic method. Satanic gematria, this is a cipher built around the number 666, the number of the beast. 666 is the 36th triangular number, if you add every number up 1 through 36. And in this method, Satanic gematria sums to 666. So here, Mars equals 191, the 43rd prime number. Rovers equals 43, so does the word Masonic. Masonic also has gematria of 29. And this stands out because the first Mars rover took exactly a span of 209 days to get to Mars. The second rover, the Opportunity, took exactly 29 weeks. Also, the first Mars rover, Spirit, landed on the date January 4th, written 1/4. That was in the year 2004. And with the S exception, Mars equals 24. The Mars Opportunity rover landed later that year, 2004. Mars Opportunity equals 240. Again, in numerology, the zeros are ignored, so this 24 is really what's important. What's also interesting is that these landings were separated by 21 days. In Jewish gematria, Mars equals 201. This number also connected to the English extended gematria of Mars. This code of letters and numbers, dates on the calendar, this all was very much in play when man first allegedly walked on the moon back in 1969. So next we're going to talk about the 1969 Apollo 11 moon launch and landing, and talk about how that was all done by the numbers, because to this point I haven't seen a proper decode of it. Now what I want to talk about first is the gematria of National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Check out how using the reverse alphabetic order, where Z is 1, Y is 2, X is 3, through A is 26, National Aeronautics and Space Administration has a numeric value of 666. And it's my contention that NASA was established for a fake moon landing. In Satanic gematria, fake moon landing equals 666. Remember, this is the method where Satanic gematria equals 666. If you multiply 6 times 6 times 6, you get 216. And it's interesting that 6 moon landings equals 216. Also notice the reduction value of 72. 1972 was the year of the last of 6 moon landings. The first of 6 moon landings was on July 20th, written 7/20. An important number to understand about the moon is 57. Throughout the course of a month, the moon travels 28.5 degrees north and south of the ecliptic. And correct me, I may be wrong. This may be longer than a month that it takes to do this, but the maximum range is 28.5 degrees north and south. This means the moon has a total range of 57 degrees. Using the alphabetic order, the word moon has a value of 57. There's another significant cipher related to the alphabetic order called square numbers. This was a base 10 cipher in Hebrew. The cipher is very simple. You simply multiply each number by itself. So D, the fourth letter, 4 times 4 is 16. D gets the value of 16. This extends all the way through Z. 26 times 26 is 676. Now in this method, when you add up the names of the 3 men who supposedly traveled to the moon, you get a value of 5757. Seems like quite a coincidence, doesn't it? Well, here's something I also want to show you. The date on which they landed on the moon, July 20th, equals 57 in reduction. Now, the most significant event that occurs with the moon is an eclipse. In Hebrew Gematria, eclipse equals 57 in ordinal. And I suppose it's probably worth it to show you this. In ordinal, eclipse equals 57. An eclipse occurs once every 1, 5, or 6 lunar phases. And in Hebrew Gematria, eclipse equals 156. The date of the moon landing on July 20th was exactly 570 days before the next total lunar eclipse. In reduction gematria, the word moon equals 21. This is the same as lunar. Lunar equals 21. So does the word cycle, 21. Now in satanic gematria, get a load of this. The first phrase spoken on the moon, at least as it was supposed to have been spoken, remember Neil Armstrong left out the word a between for and man. In satanic gematria, that's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind, has a value of 2121. Now if you multiply 21 times 21, you get 441. This is the ordinal gematria of National Aeronautics and Space Administration, 441. Real quick, guys, as far as the organic matrix is concerned, I just want to point out that on this date on which I started decoding the moon landing, I just happened to be 404 months and 10 days old, like the gematria of NASA. Anyway, so NASA was established on July 29th. July 29th is the 210th day of the year, like the number 21. July 20th, the date that man allegedly first landed on the moon, is the 201st day of the year. All of this found in the gematria of moon, 21. Remember, it was the year 69 on the date July 20th. July 20th equals 69. So does the phrase fake moon landing. fake moon landing equals 69, and the first fake moon landing was in the year 69. There's something else really interesting about the date July 20th. Not only does it sum to 192 in the alphabetic order, but if you instead write 20th of July, you get 192 in reverse. You also get 69 in reduction, just like the year of the moon landing. But anyway, in Jewish gematria, the word eclipse equals 192. Now, we talked about how the moon landing was lined up with the next total lunar eclipse. We're also going to talk about how it was aligned with the previous total lunar eclipse. We're also going to discuss how it was aligned with the next and most recent total solar eclipses. In the alphabetic order, the word eclipse equals 69. This moon landing doubled as an eclipse ritual. Notice how eclipse also equals 33 in reduction. These values of 69 and 33 are also found in the word lunar, 69 reverse, 33 reverse reduction. The moon does have a 33-year cycle that syncs the lunar calendar up with the solar calendar. In Hebrew, one of the two main words for moon has an ordinal value of 33. Now, the date on which man is said to have first set foot on the moon, remember, the landing occurred on July 20th, but man did not actually set foot on the moon until July 21st. July 21st of 1969 was a span of exactly 303 days after the most recent total solar eclipse. Eclipse equals 33. The day before, when Apollo 11 landed, was a span of exactly 33 weeks before the next total solar eclipse. Using the alphabetic order, total solar eclipse equals 202. Neil Armstrong is said to have first walked on the moon on the 202nd day of the year. That date, the 21st of July, is written 21/7. Neil Armstrong was born on August 5th. August 5th is the 217th day of the year. This date of birth, by the way, has heavy Masonic numerology. First of all, August 5th is written 5/8 in most parts of the world. Freemasonry equals 58 in reduction. NASA was established in the year 58. Also, check out his birth numerology of 62, 26, and 43. Remember, the word Mason equals 62. Also 26 with the S exception. Masonic equals 43. We'll talk more about the gematria of this word in a little bit. But again, let's look at satanic gematria. And I get a lot of questions about which ciphers are the most relevant. I do most of my work in what I call the base 6 ciphers, right? So we have the base 4, ordinal in reverse, reduction in reverse, Jewish gematria, definitely really significant, and then English extended is pretty significant, but I would throw satanic gematria right up there as maybe like the 7th or 8th most significant cipher. And I think what I'm showing in this video is pretty good evidence for that. In satanic gematria, the word moon equals 197. This is, of course, by no mistake. There's a very significant 19-year cycle associated with the moon. This is called the Metonic cycle. And the fact that we're not taught this in school is kind of a crime the way I see it. This period of 19 years syncs up almost perfectly with 235 synodic months, or lunar phases. They fall within a couple hours of each other, and it's pretty significant. In the reverse alphabetic order, Metonic cycle also sums to 197. The Metonic cycle is a period of 19 years, which also, in that same method, sums to 197. Now, the reason 197 is significant is because of these 19 years in the Metonic cycle, 7 of them have a 13th lunar phase. In the alphabetic order, 13th month equals 197. Even the word 13th sums to 127 and 55 in reduction, which is the same as Metonic cycle. 127, 55. It's that 13th month every few years that makes it special. Apollo 11 took off for the moon on July 16th of 1969. And July 16th is the 197th day of the year. 197 is a prime number. Check out how it's the 45th prime number. The word 13 equals 45 in both full reduction and reverse full reduction. And on the date Apollo 11 launched, which was the 197th day of the year, the 45th prime, NASA was exactly 4,005 days old. Now, the 13th prime number is 41. And on the date of the moon landing and the date that man first walked on the moon, NASA was exactly 4,010 days old. The date of that moon landing, by the way, also exactly 41 weeks before after the most recent total lunar eclipse. The phrase moon landing equals 179, which is the 41st prime number. Remember, 41, the 13th prime number. There's a few more obvious things I want to point out. In Hebrew Gematria, the word for moon equals 218. Notice how we allegedly landed on the moon at 2018 Universal Time, 218. Okay. In ordinal, this same word sums to 38. 2 of the 3 astronauts who went to the moon were allegedly 38 years old. So up here, we talked a lot about the number 197, the gematria of moon, Metonic cycle, 19 years, 13th month, all of this good stuff. Well, consider that the moon landing occurred not long before the year 1970, which has the number 197 in it. If you measure from the date of the moon landing to the first day of 1970, you get 165 days. Scottish Rite sums to 165 in the alphabetic order. With capital letters taken into account, Freemasonry, 165. The word Masonic sums to 223 in Jewish gematria. This is the same as the Hebrew gematria for the moon, 223. And the numerology of the moon landing was very Masonic, of course. Consider how the word Freemason equals 96 in the alphabetic order. The moon landing occurred on a date with 96 numerology. This same date had full numerology of 115, 7 plus 20 plus 19 plus 69. The word Masonic equals 115 in reverse. And check out the 3 astronauts who landed on the moon. They were 38, 38, and 39 years old. If you add up those ages, you get 115. All 3 of those astronauts, by the way, we got Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin. All of them were born in the same year, 1930. The word space equals 44, and notice how the 44th prime number is 193, like all of these men's birth years, 1930. So what do you think, guys? Couple all of this with the fact that NASA has not gone back to the moon since 1972. NASA says that the original tapes of the moon landing no longer occur because they taped over them because of budget cuts. NASA also says that they destroyed the technology that we used to get to the moon. So here we are, guys, almost 50 years after the moon landing, and what has NASA accomplished since? Other than sending rovers to Mars, which send back grainy, sketchy photos. There's a lot more questions than answers when it comes to NASA and pretty much everything they do. So there you have it, guys. Just wanted to discuss the numerology of this Opportunity rover, talk about the fake moon landing. Like I said, I hadn't seen a real in-depth proper decode of the numerology and gematria of the moon landing, so thought I'd give it to you, throw it out there, because this stuff needs to be understood and needs to be spread, because ignorance is ruling right now in this nation. You know, people prefer the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil mantra. But it's time for that to end. It's time to expose these serpents who are lying to us every single day through the mainstream media and our federal government institutions. All right, everybody. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate the likes, subscribes. Again, this content has been censored. My YouTube channel deleted about a year ago. My website taken offline for a few days earlier this month. The elites would much rather you do not know what I'm sharing. All right, everybody. Again, thanks for watching. Peace, love, and God bless. See ya!